Profit booking on Dalal Street. Key indices come off the record highs. Nifty slips from the day's high while the mid-cap swings between gains and losses after a firm opening today. However, Adani Group stocks remain well bid.
State Street's decision to buy out HCL Technologies' stake in their joint venture sparks concerns over insourcing by global clients of Indian IT services majors. The HCL Technologies stock slips post this deal.
There's a flurry of big equity transactions. Honasa Consumer sees a near 2% of its equity change hands. About 11% of Shriram Properties is traded, while over 2% of Swan Energy is exchanged. This follows a big trade in camps yesterday.
Gold and silver slip on profit-taking as the US dollar recovers. Base metals too slip, with zinc hitting a one-month low and even copper coming off after scaling to a four-month high.
Hello and welcome. You've tuned into Business Lunch. I'm Nisha Podar, and with me as always is Pavitra Parekh. So Pavitra, yet another record day today, but then there is definitely going to be some profit booking, and that's what we are seeing right now at lunch hour. So yes, mid caps have come out much lower. Nifty 50 has lost its above 20,800 mark, and yes, a lot of big blue chips have also seen profit booking, Pavitra.
Oh, absolutely. Like you mentioned, we did see those higher levels earlier in the day, but we have come off significantly. Even for the Nifty, it's a near 100-point cut that we are seeing. But the larger chunk of the pressure is coming through in the broader markets, which, are the pockets which have run up a lot. So the mid-cap and small-cap index will come up on your screen, and you can see the kind of cut that we've seen there. For the small-cap index, when at one point it was down around 1% from the top of the trading session, we have recovered a little bit from those levels as well. But that is the kind of pressure we saw. Other pockets like the PSU index, the CPSE index, that also saw a pretty significant cut come through. And you have the mid-cap IT names, including some of the larger IT names also, which are under pressure. What's holding up? The entire Adani group of stocks doing quite well. You have all of the OMCs which are up and about, not just today, they've just been building onto those gains. So HPCL, BPCL, IOC, all of those looking good. And cement as a pocket is also looking pretty solid today. So that's looking good as well right now. But some of the banking names, the likes of Indices, and you have Axis Bank, those ones have seen quite a fall come through. Of course, the Nifty Bank is still holding up, but in names like Indices, it's been an over 2% kind of slip from the highs of the session. So I would watch out for some of those kinds of stocks as well. But let's kickstart the show now by focusing on a sector which is really buzzing around. It's the OMC stocks which are on fire, like I was mentioning. All of them sitting at a fresh 52-week high. So we have Sonal standing by the wall with some details on trends that we're seeing in the sector and what brokerages are making of this as well. Sonal.
Well, it has been all about the oil marketing companies HPCL, IOCL and BPCL in last 1 month and the year as well. It is a stellar move for the stocks of all of them at 52-week high. That is year to date. HPCL is up 65%, IOCL is up 42%. We have BPCL, which is higher as well. For HPCL and BPCL in particular, it is the best year since 2014. So let's take a look at this table. In 2014, the HPCL stock was up 131%, IOC was up 58%, BPCL was up 84%. And after that, 2023 is the year which is the best for stock returns for these companies. But after this run-up, our valuations stretched. Not at all. In fact, the valuations of all three OMCs are still lower than the 10-year average by around 10 to 15%. The sector is seeing tailwinds in terms of low crude oil prices and no intervention by the government in fuel pricing ahead of state elections. But whether that will remain the case ahead of general elections will be the key to track for these stocks. Now let's specifically talk about HPCL because there are a lot of triggers in place. Company has raised its refinery capacity 7 million tons per annum at Vizag. There is 9 million tons per annum of commissioning at Barmer. Mumbai has already seen an expansion by 2 million tons per annum. Company has also commissioned 2 major pipeline projects and 5 million tons regasification and storage terminal at Chhara. Now, it plans to invest 75,000 crore rupees in next 5 years with 20 to 25% in renewables, 20 to 25% in refining and the rest in the marketing segment. Company will also form a wholly owned subsidiary for green business to foray into renewables, EV and hydrogen segments and crude to chemicals. The last one is lubricants demerger. The company announced it a while back but is awaiting certain approvals from the Government of India and is working on either listing it separately or bringing in a strategic partner. This is about HPCL. But Kotak, in a note yesterday, cautioned on the sharp increase in OMC's stock prices. They say that they're surprised by the sharp 25 to 40% up move in OMCs in last 1 month, and the recent run-up in OMCs seem excessive, and hence they've downgraded the stocks to sell from a reduce.
All right. Thanks, Sonal, for getting us all those details. And recently, we just saw a news flash that Moody's has downgraded China from stable to negative. That's one factor to watch out for our markets also going forward. But let's focus on another sector, which is the hotel industry. And it is witnessing an extremely lucrative period. And we earlier spoke to Puneet Chatwal, who's, remember, the managing director and CEO at the Indian hotels, about the wedding season and what it could really mean for this particular industry. Let's listen in.
Rates are trending approximately 17% higher across our portfolio for us. We are very booked out in certain locations: Rajasthan, Goa, Mumbai, Delhi. This is also because of a lot of events that are happening. Jio is hosting a lot of events in Mumbai. Yashobhoomi is getting new events like the investment conference. The auto show is happening in Pragati Maidan. So we see a lot of business going back to the way it used to be. That means booked in advance. There is still room for growth in the foreign tourist arrivals, and that is beginning to happen, especially in Delhi, Mumbai. These are the main airports you come into besides Bengaluru. Unless something dramatic happens in the next 3-4 weeks, I see no reason why Q3 should not be all-time high. And the margins are really the best in Q3, followed by Q4. We have actually signed and contracted 140 hotels in last 6 years. And by 31st of March, we would have opened 72 hotels in 72 months. I think that speed was... nobody would have thought would have been possible, and also to absorb it profitably. So most of our new openings are also trending at an EBITDA of the average is across the portfolio is higher than 30%.
All right, that is a very positive Puneet Chatwal telling us that prices are higher, occupancies are higher, and Q3 is going to be very solid for the company. But with that, let's also move on and bring you a word on the markets. This is from Sunil Kaul, the APAC strategist at Goldman Sachs. So listen to what he has to say on the Indian market, as well as what we could expect in terms of the central bank action, both over here and then in the US next week as well.
We have raised our allocations from being neutral heading into the year to overweight. So in that sense, we are obviously more positive on India. We don't have sort of more overweight than that, but we have sort of incrementally raised our allocations. So we're more positive there. So we think returns will be mostly moderate heading into elections. We think sort of earnings over the next 12 months will be driving the markets higher. So we're kind of looking for 10-12% returns for the markets overall over the course of next year. We are overweight banks, and we prefer banks over the NBFCs here. We do think that the underlying US economy is still strong, and Fed therefore doesn't need to cut rates anytime soon. I mean, if we do see growth data worsening, and then the Fed could have early rate cuts in terms of more insurance cuts, but we don't see the need for that at this point in time. That extends to our view in India as well, because where we think that RBI will stay on hold pretty much for until Q4 of next year, and even when the rate cutting starts, it'll be much more a shallow cycle for RBI too. But that is also contingent on our global view, as I said.
All right, so that's the call coming in from Goldman Sachs on India. With that, we'll slip into a short breather on Business Lunch. But when we return, we'll get you all the latest updates coming in from cyclone Migjoam that is making the landfall in parts of Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. You're still tuned into Business Lunch. Let's bring you the latest weather updates now. 5 people were killed in Chennai as heavy rains lashed several districts of Tamil Nadu. Several towns are also reeling under severe waterlogging issues. However, the Chennai airport has resumed operations today as rain subside in the city. We have CNN News 18's Purnima joining us with the latest ground report.
Well, some of if you compare yesterday and today, yes, the water levels have receded. The main roads that were also inundated yesterday, their water levels have receded. Main roads are almost clear, but subways, interior parts of the city, the streets that are lying in the low-lying areas, as I said, Tambaram, Velachery, Pallikarnai, these are the areas that continue to remain waterlogged, massive waterlogging there. And unless the water is drained out, power supply will not be restored. Corporation officials are out on the streets trying to drain the water out. There are motor pumps to pump the water out. So all these measures are in place. But looking at the damage that's caused over the last 24 hours, it will take time for these waterlogged areas to be cleared. Of course, work is going on, but still a long way to go. And the Electricity Minister has promised that in major parts, the power restoration will happen by tonight. So that's the good news for the residents of Chennai and for Chennaiites. We'll have to wait and see how much of that will be done by the end of the day. Power restoration is the priority for the government, and uprooting trees and draining the water out may take some more time, especially draining the water out, because the entire city came to a standstill yesterday. Now that the rains have stopped, the work has begun, but still a long way to go. We'll have to wait and see, because there are worst hit areas, and Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin will be visiting Pallikarnai, Velachery, Tambaram. These are the worst hit areas in the evening today to take stock of the situation. That's what we've been hearing.
All right. That's Purnima giving us the ground report. Meanwhile, in southern coastal areas of the state of Andhra Pradesh that is also on high alert, as the severe cyclonic storm is expected to make landfall in the next few hours. Now, nearly 1,000 people have been evacuated from the coastal areas of Andhra Pradesh, and IMD has issued a red alert for several districts, and NDRF teams have been deployed in the coastal regions to secure the area and also ensure all safety protocols in the region.
All right, so that is the situation right now with the cyclone. We'll keep bringing you more on that. But with that, let's also talk about the high-stake elections in the 5 states. Now that all of them are over, all eyes are on who will really be the next chief minister in each of these states. Now, in all likelihood, Lalu Homa, who is the leader of the Zoram People's Movement, will be the next Mizoram chief minister. But who is going to occupy the post in the states of Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh and Telangana? We have Parikshit, who has drawn up a list of all of the contenders. So, Parikshit, take us through the list of all of the names that could take this post.
Yes, with the Hindi heartland now choosing the BJP and Telangana voting for Congress, the big question is who will be the chief minister of these states? Madhya Pradesh by far has been the BJP's most impressive performance this election season. Though the party did not announce Shivraj Singh Chauhan as a chief ministerial candidate, he remains the front runner. The other names doing the rounds are of Union Ministers Narendra Singh Tomar and Jyotiraditya Scindia. BJP National Secretary Kailash Vijayvargiya is also a contender. The same question is looming in neighbouring Rajasthan as well. Vasundhara Raje, the state's only woman chief minister so far, is the BJP's tallest leader. Prominent Hindutva leader Mahant Balaknath is a contender, as is Diya Kumari. A prominent Rajput figure and member of the erstwhile Jaipur royal family, Union Jal Shakti Minister Gajendra Singh Shekhawat, is a contender as well. Chhattisgarh's longest-serving CM, Raman Singh, is being seen as the front-runner in the state. The 71-year-old is a 6-time MLA and is said to have played a crucial role in ticket distribution. The state BJP president, Arun Sao, is also in contention. The 50-year-old is a member of parliament and the tallest OBC leader in the state. The name of Renuka Singh, Union Minister of State for Tribal Affairs, is also doing the rounds. We had seen the BJP and the government putting a lot of pressure as far as tribal schemes are concerned. Revant Reddy is the front runner for the Chief Minister's post in Telangana. A delegation of Congress leaders led by Reddy met the governor to stake claim. Sitting MP and former chief of the state unit, Uttam Kumar Reddy, is a contender as well. The Congress top leadership is yet to take a call on this.
All right. Thanks, Parikshit, for all the details on the Game of Thrones after the election verdict is out. And just a few minutes back, Sapphire Food was flashed. In fact, there is a big block trade taking place in that particular counter. Keep an eye on the stock. It has plummeted because of the huge supply of paper. Now, remember, the theme for this particular year has been the equity market windows being provided to the investors to make an exit through block deals. And we have seen a whole spate of that since yesterday and today, and that is likely to really continue. With that, we slip into a short breather on Business Lunch, but we get you more news and updates on the other side. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. You're on Business Lunch. Now, artificial intelligence, or AI, has been the talk of the town for all the right and sometimes the wrong reasons as well. But as an investor, should you really consider this particular segment? Pavitra has moved on to the wall and has the data on how one can really take benefit of the AI wave by investing mutual funds which have an exposure to this massive technological shift. Pavitra.
Well, it's been all about the new world of AI and things are only getting hotter. So how do you as an Indian investor really play this theme? Well, there are 8 companies that have broadly been identified as being part of this hot AI pack. These include Alphabet, Amazon, Meta, Intel, Nvidia, a few more. I've put them all in your screen over here as well. So you could look at getting exposure to this AI theme via 2 ways, right? Either you look at the passive route or the active route. Now, Value Research has shared some data on the funds that have the highest AI exposure. So let me just go through the passive basket first. Motilal Oswal Nasdaq 100 ETF leads the lot in terms of the money invested. So they've put in a little over 2,000 crores and the AI exposed stocks make up a third of the total fund. Now, the Mirae NYSE FANG Plus has around 760 crores and the scheme allocation is pretty heavy. So the scheme allocation to these AI stocks stands at over 50%, 51% there. The Motilal Oswal S&P 500 Index Fund has around 530 crores invested, and these AI names, in terms of the allocation, look at around 20%. Then you have the ICICI approved Nasdaq 100, which has 284 crores and around 33% in allocation, followed by the Mirae S&P 500 Top 50 ETF with almost 200 crores invested for a 35% kind of allocation. So these are all of the passive funds. Let me also talk to you about the actively managed funds now. And the AI investment here is highly concentrated, right? So if you look at the top few funds, all of them, just the top 5 in total, hold around 88% share of the total investment, which is worth roughly around 12,000 crores. Within this basket, you have Parag Parikh FlexiCap Fund, which has nearly 7,000 crores invested. The scheme allocation to AI stocks is 16% over here. Then you have 3 funds from the SBI Mutual Fund Group, so which are pretty decent exposure, right? So the SBI Focus Fund has around 2,000 crores in these companies. It's a 7% allocation there. The SBI FlexiCap has around 730 crores, like you can see. It's a 4% allocation for that fund. And lastly, SBI Magnum has invested 671 crores for an 11% allocation. So those are the SBI group of funds. Lastly, you also have one from the ICICI approved Blue Chip, which has invested around 133 crores, and the AI exposed stocks allocation is at 5%. So those are all of the numbers. Just some interesting points that, we are picking up is that there seems to be a very clear preference within the actively managed funds for Alphabet or Google. So 4 of these 5 funds that I mentioned have invested in Google. Also, none of these 5 active funds have any exposure to the Nvidia stock. So that's something that really stands out to me as well. But those are the funds which are putting in the cash and giving you a way to hold this hot AI pack.
Oh, very interesting data there, Pavitra. Thanks so much for getting us on something which is such a hot topic right now. But in terms of investments in AI, one is the technological companies, and the other one, which is also picking up as a big theme, is the companies which are taking the AI support. But AI ethics needs to be watched out for. Completely out of time on Business Lunch. Thanks so much.